Hello, welcome to Wisdom Hour again. I'm still catching up with these wonderful questions that people are sending in. So I'm just going to explain this one first because it's, reasonably complicated. I want to christen my children back in my home country and invite all of my family. My sister doesn't want me to invite my aunt and her children's families. There was a problem with an inheritance and my sister had to deal with it. She feels deeply hurt by my aunt and her children and doesn't want them in her life anymore. She says that if I invite them, it will ruin the christening for her and that I would be choosing them over her. I know things weren't fair back then, but I don't want to cut them off because I want my children to have that connection with their family. Should I invite them, even though my sister is saying I will choose them over her and ruin it for her? Okay, so complicated family matter, yeah? Tricky, because she said she'd sent quite a long thing in to say, she didn't want to upset her sister, and she also had realised what happened wasn't fair, but because she wasn't there in the country, she wasn't as involved, and so was able to kind of keep up a fairly surface type of a relationship with this part of the family. Anyway, so, okay, let's just see what we have to say about that. There's a goal here. A goal to keep my children's options open. Oh, well, there you go. That's sort of giving you a bit of a clue, isn't it? To keep your children's options open. And that's sort of what you said too, right? Is that, you don't want to cut them off because you want your children to have the connection with their family. Yeah, okay. So, Scott's positive, active, clear and energetic. I want to work with language with a question with a statement. An I statement, a you statement. You are correct when you think that it is not a good idea to cut off your children from parts of their family. The christening is for them, and you need to keep this in mind with any decisions you make. It is not your sister's christening, nor is it your christening, nor is it the auntie's christening or any of her children. It is your children's christening, and it should be all about them. In this case, you're going back home to get your children christened shows that you want to keep ties with your family at home, and the fact that it didn't spring to mind to you to omit any invitation to the auntie shows that you are not as upset about what happened as your sister. It is true that these things can get very upsetting, and when there has been a death, everyone's emotions are running high, and so it is easy for people to be misunderstood and to take offense. The general priority that you should consider is what is right for my children in this christening, and how will they benefit? No, how will they what is understanding? How will they prudently make their connections with family in their future? when they see photos of their christening and they see that their auntie and their family is not there, they will probably ask, where are they and why aren't they there? And then you will have to explain to them about this rift in the family, or otherwise lie about it. We don't advocate lying, and we don't advocate placing your children in the middle of a feud or a disagreement between family members. If your sister is so upset by them, you could suggest that she places herself on the other side of the church or the other end of the church or anywhere where she doesn't see them, and prepare to move if they come anywhere near her. That is the most practical thing to do, and when she prioritizes keeping her distance, there is no reason why she shouldn't enjoy this christening as much as anyone else. Your gentle way of explaining this to her will be the priority in terms of how she responds. When you speak to her about it, it's important to make very clear that you do understand her pain and that you do not want to hurt her and that you do want her to have a beautiful day with you. But if you are to put your children first, you must not exclude parts of the family. And it would not be right to do this because they have no gripe with this family and this family member, and so on. When your sister puts forward objections or doesn't want to listen to this way of explaining it, you could say to her, how would you like it if you were christening your children and you said to me, my children can't come to your christening? Do you think that is fair, considering they have nothing to do with this and they have done nothing wrong and they are innocent? In the same way, they shouldn't have to pay for the problems that are between other family members. you could also explain that your feelings about what happened aren't as strong as hers, and you are prepared to talk to your auntie about what happened, but not before the christening. When your sister feels that you are prepared to address this with the auntie, she may feel a little better and not feel so alone in what she experienced. You don't have to take advice from your sister. She has her own place in the family, and you have yours. And just because one sibling doesn't get on with another family member or extended family members, it doesn't mean that you have to do the same. If your sister can't see this and expects you to back her up through loyalty alone, then she is placing you in the middle of a conflict that you don't even want or need. And you can say to her, you have this big issue with our auntie, but it is yours and not mine. And I feel sorry that you have fallen out with each other, but you don't have to pull other people into it and make it even more hurtful and more painful for others. This may sound rather strong, but it may have to be said if she won't listen to the more gentle approach that we have suggested. Sometimes people need to be told straight with the simple and straight truth. And when they don't want to hear it, it can sound harsh. But in fact, that is not harsh. It is just the truth. What is harsh is the resistance that comes up to hearing it. When you imagine the christening of your children, imagine a photo with all of your relatives, all happy and smiling, and with no one holding resentment. This strong image of love for your family can help to mend these sorts of rifts. It can be more powerful than trying to talk people through things. That is, bringing people together who have already fallen out. This can be fraught with difficulty and can lead to you being put in a place where you can't win on either side, and so you receive general what? Energy from both sides that you don't deserve. Better to stay out of their conflict, and if you are going to speak to your auntie, speak in terms of how it affected you, not about her relationship with your sister. That is between them. You have enough going on, and your auntie doesn't consider you a problem or someone that she doesn't like or anything like that. So be careful not to become the piggy in the middle who gets the blame from both sides. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Okay, there we are. So yes, family relationships, aren't they good fun? So yes, who's it? Somebody, I can't remember who said it, that they said, if you think you're enlightened, go home and spend a few months, with your family. Then you'll find out how enlightened you are. How much you can keep, your head and all of it. Because, look, we're all reflecting stuff back and forth, aren't we? I mean, we're all sharing a whole lot of stuff. We're all sharing different childhood wounds and this and that, reflecting back pain bodies here and there. It gets very complicated, especially in big families. But underneath all of that wonderful drama, just got to remember the love that's there for each other. Doesn't mean you have to live in each other's pockets. Doesn't mean that you have to play each other's games. You don't have to as adults. You can choose. You can choose how much or how little you want to see of your siblings and your aunties and your uncles. And that's your choice as an adult. It's not like we're a child anymore and we kind of go, oh no, we're being dragged along, we have to see the aunties. We don't. As adults, we can actually just choose not to. And that doesn't mean we dislike them or don't love them. But sometimes we just can see it's just not actually that helpful to anybody sometimes to have too much contact. When we might be like, a round peg in a square hole sort of thing. It can be very challenging. So, just bite off only as much as you can chew is what I would recommend. That's just from me coming from a very big family myself and knowing, how, especially in families we have strong personalities like you do in ours. I mean, it can be fraught with difficulties. But it doesn't mean there's no love there. There's love there, and it doesn't matter if you see each other, every 5 minutes, every day, every week, every year, or every 5 years. It really doesn't matter that much, as long as you realise that the love is there. It doesn't matter how, wonky the relationships are sometimes. Anyway, good luck with that, and have whatever happens, just choose to have the most beautiful christening, because it sounds like you're going to a lot of trouble to take your children and yourself overseas, to do this, to be with your extended family. So, don't let anyone ruin it for you. Just decide, no, that's it. I'm going to put those kids first. This is their day. It's going to be special for them, and that's it, and just make your decisions. I would anyway, make your decisions based on that. Yeah, have a good one. Bye now.